not easy.
No.
It is not easy to train a dog.
No.
It's not easy to have a dog to even listen. Just to listen for you.
Yeah.
When you call their name.
And people tell me,
simple.
people tell me the dog doesn't listen. I'm like, oh, because you're speaking a different language.
Yeah, right. How is that even like?
Yeah, like
how do you raise an animal and the animal? He's been your dog. I mean, I'm sure you got dogs that are like 5 years old. I've had these dogs for 5 years and he still doesn't fucking sit.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Because he's got options, and have you clearly, like, it takes thousands of repetitions to create a learned behavior where the dog does it on cue. You speak and the dog does under distraction. And most people with a cookie in their living room with not much going on, the dog's rock star.
Of course.
Just flash the cash and I'll put my ass on the ground when you tell me to. That's our deal. That's our contract. You want to change the contract by now going into Home Depot or go down to downtown at the Gardens on a Friday night and say, sit. And the dog's like, I'm going to go check these people out. There's other dogs. There's better smelling food. Like,
forget you.
The tail's like this, the middle finger. You go sit. I'll be over here fucking around until I satisfy that. And then maybe I'll come see what you have. So it's the balance. Like, if once people understand dog training, and that's the most important part of what we do, is educating and empowering the owners to literally to understand and maintain the behaviors we've taught, right? Because without that, it's shit. Like, I can have a dog stand on their head, do cartwheels, and love it. Like, but that's been doing it all my life. If I can't create a transfer of owner or a transfer of power to the owner, it's useless. Because some dogs will go through life and be pretty compliant, right? Because their owner matters to them, but there's other dogs that we call them make me dogs. I know how to down. I know how to sit and go to place.
I'm not gonna do it.
Make me. They're little bastards, right? And those dogs, and I tell owners, we can usually identify that pretty early on in the training program. Like, this is going to be a make me dog. They know it. Make me. Right?
How do you break that?
Well, you just make them a believer that you're going to make them do shit, and they know who they can play, right? And again, it's a really weird relationship. I create an environment where the dogs really enjoy training. They really, like, I'm speaking their love language. They learn how to find their advantage. Like, again, they're hardwired to find their advantage. Engaging with me and hitting target behaviors, I create an environment where they believe that's their advantage, and they love it. But at some point in time, I have to show them when they understand a specific behavior, pressure will come if they don't. And it's very light, very gradual, very well timed. And then we can turn up the volume, especially with the e-collar. I can go higher and higher and higher until the dog goes, all right, he's not bullshitting today. And I make the dog a promise, like, there'll be no pressure. I'll richly reward you. Life will be perfect. This is the path. You deviate and fuck around outside that path and make poor choices. I also promise you that will reinforce what you've been taught. And it's a very clear contract. And the dogs love that shit. It's so clear to them. Because amongst their pack, there's dog on dog, let's say a pack of wolves, like, there's a very clear hierarchy. There's very clear boundaries and structure. And of course, there's a young male wolf that all of a sudden he feels like he's a big boy. He wants to start breeding females and taking food first. Well, the top dog's gonna let him know. And if the top dog can't, well, he's gonna have a rise. He's gonna go from mailroom employee, climb the ranks, and become the CEO of that company and be the boss of that pack. But if the elder, the alpha wolf, is able to put his ass in his place, he'll submit. But again, he may always keep trying, but there has to be ongoing maintenance of that relationship, ongoing reinforcement, and the dogs thrive on that shit. Like, this whole hippie shit of just let them be and don't ask them to do shit and don't put pressure.
Like a kid.
Yeah, and again, it makes no sense to them. They want that. They enjoy structure. And part of that structure is understanding pressure is in play. It's on the menu. If you ask me to go to that, make that selection, I promise you I will. And that's a very clear relationship. Like, even you think about human relationships, when you don't understand where people, like, when you're in my life and you're around me, you know where I stand. You know how I feel. You know, like, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I don't bullshit. I'm very transparent. A dog thrives off that communication process. but they are watching like a hawk, right? So if you're not paying attention, they're gonna fuck around and find out.
Yeah. They'll do whatever they want.
Exactly.
And the moment you need them there,
Yep.
they're gonna be whatever, make me.
Mm-hmm. There's some that are like that, and if there weren't dogs like that, and they were all just go with the flow, again, I'd have no job. I'd have nothing. I'd be asking you to hire me to clean your gym or something. And a whole lot in this world.
Are you looking for another job?
No.
You have like 10 jobs.
I have a very limited skill set, really, honestly. There's very little in this world I could do. I could throw and hit a baseball once upon a time. I was okay at being a cop. I understand dogs.
That's huge.
Yeah, but
it's not little. You're like
when
risking your life and the training that you have to do.
Yeah, when shit breaks around the house, my fucking wife fixes it. Like I can't build a fucking sandwich, man. Let alone fix shit, right? You know, I stumbled through a lot.
Good thing you have a handy wife.
Yeah, she is. She's very, very well skilled. So again, I have my little lane and I try to stay in it. You know, but thank God for dogs.
Thank God for dogs. So you teach. You also do clients. You have clients that you do like private training.
Yeah. Well, I do one-on-one lessons. They're not very effective because when you do a one-on-one lesson, like people that don't want to bring their dog to board and train, where they drop it off with a trainer for several weeks, the dog lives with the trainer the entire time. Mm-hmm. It's like a complete system reboot. That's an ideal situation because the dog's memory and they're cued to behave the way they are in the owner's home. So the dog's had a genetic impulse to be either destructive or aggressive or super rude, stealing things off counters, jumping all over people, destroying furniture, digging holes, name it, just whatever. And the dog in that environment knows they can get away with it.
Right.
They've been empowered in that environment by the owner unknowingly. Like a little baby puppy, right? The puppy's really cute. And the puppy, you just want to relax. You're watching TV, and all of a sudden the puppy looks at you and goes, bah, bah, and you go, oh, what is it? My Latin friends go, pobrecito, right? And then as soon as a puppy makes that noise, you give it attention, you pick it up and put it in your lap, it goes, bing,
ding, dong, ding,
all I gotta do is bark.
Every time I bark, I get picked up.
I'm annoyed, then the barking becomes jumping and pushing, and before you know it, it's 90 pounds.
He's an asshole.
And he's an asshole.
He's scratching me, and he's scratching everybody, and I can have people over.
And you can't figure out why.
And it's the dog's fault.
Right. And they can't figure out why, because you've unknowingly created that little monster. So if we try to train somebody on a one-on-one lesson in their home to try to recreate those thousands of repetitions,
no,
it's not going to happen.
No.
But there are all those folks, like again, Rebecca's amazing. She does a very good job communicating with people and dogs. So there's those people that maybe can't even afford board and train because it's expensive. The lessons are less. You go at your pace, you go at your budget, but the owner's responsible for putting in those thousands of reps. Like, we'll coach you all day long, but it is the least effective form of dog training. Mm-hmm. So it's so hard. It's like trying to diet in a chocolate factory. Like, how the fuck? You're gonna do push-ups, eat chocolate, like.
It does give you a little bit of energy.
Yeah, a little bit, but you're just pissing in the wind, right? Mm-hmm. So board and train is the ultimate best form of training, to bring the dog into a new environment where there's no cues, it doesn't get away with all the bullshit. We know how to speak dog. We recondition all the behaviors that we want, add distraction, add distance, add duration. And when the dog's ready, then we bring the owner back in and teach them how to maintain it. It's always best.
Like a computer reset.
Yeah.
How long is that process for?
4 weeks generally for our basic program, which is an on-leash program with an introduction to off-leash training. And that's me as a professional, 4 weeks. Our 6-week program for most dogs is our off-leash program, where they're fully off-leash, sit down, heel, calm at a distance, healing, everything, go to place, under a lot of distraction. And then once in a while, I will deal with what we call behavior modification, dogs that are showing dog aggression or human aggression, but as a whole, I stopped doing human aggression cases a long time ago. Because what happens is the same thing. Like, I can educate a dog pretty quickly that don't put your teeth on me and nobody around me, right? Mm-hmm. It's not a transferable skill. Like, I can't put that in the dog's brain. And again, I'm not going to bullshit you. When a dog wants to put their teeth on me, they're telling me they want to be violent. The only way you're going to redirect that behavior or suppress it is with equal or greater violence and dominance. And that's the language that they get. If they again, these puppies, like, you've probably kept male dogs over the years, right?
Yes.
That grew up together, and then one day, the balls drop, the testosterone's flowing, and they want to figure out who is the boss.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, there's trainers out there saying that they can create extinction and aggression. For me, it's bullshit. It's always lurking.
Oh, it is.
Always. And what the training does, the tools, the training, and the techniques allows you to mitigate and manage. There's no delete.
No.
No delete.
Absolutely not.
And for me, that's a problem. Like, let's say I put my hands on a dog that's bit people, right? And I take the dog into my program, I teach him very quickly, don't put your teeth on me. And here's the other reality of that shit. Like, I'm transparent. When a dog tries to bite me, I lose my shit. I do. I'm not gonna bullshit you. Gretta, it's fucking unhealthy for me and the dog, right? So I try not to go there, right? You know, there's dogs in the past where I put on the big bite suit. I've used a catch stick, and it's fucking ugly. Like, I told you, I've been in bad car wrecks and a lot of sports injuries. My back, my neck, my shoulders. I'm not fighting with a 100-pound dog anymore. Like, fuck that. But the other problem is, like, I can get that dog right. We're squared away. Like, he's not even looking at me, not even looking at people. But as soon as the owner comes back, if they don't put the same level of pressure, the same social dominance, the same tools, techniques, and theories that I've educated that dog with, instantly the dog will read that and say, fuck you.
I can do whatever
Go right back to it.
Wow.
And then they blame you, and then it bites somebody, you're attached to a lawsuit. So,
oh my God.
So we call that blood money. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Give me rude, happy dogs. No problem. All day long. Doodles, right? Doodles. Like, whoever invented the doodle, I want to hug them. Like, they keep us busy. Like,
one of the girls has a schnoodle?
Yeah, schnauzer and a doodle mix.
Yeah.
Like, keep mixing them.
Cute.
Yeah.
So cute. Smart.
Yeah. But sometimes that works against you.
Too smart.
Yes.
I threw the bowl once. She looked at me. She was like, picked up the bowl, let it sniff it, threw the bowl, picked it up, came back, dropped it. She's 8 weeks old.
No kidding. What you want to do is have two. Does the dog like the ball?
Loves the ball.
So you have two. You have twins, right? So you throw one ball. They always want what you have, right? So you throw one ball, they go chase it. Throw it like 10 feet. And then start talking to the other ball. Like, juggle it, flip it around, like, this is the coolest ball in the world. They're gonna grab it and see you have another one and run over, spit it, and then you throw the other one. You pick up the one they dropped. It's a trading game, and then the dog believes they're in control of you. They're like, this is fucking amazing. This idiot is like my Pez dispenser. I bring one, they give me another. This is fantastic. So that's how you create, like, trading and retrieving games and really make the dog engage. At some point in time, because the dog learns you're gonna give the dog the ball back, right? Because the dog believes at some point in time the game has to end. But if they're really saturated, they've had their fulfillment, they're more willing to walk away from the game, you know? But if you take that ball and you got to pull it off of them, they think they're not getting it back, they're going to grab it and head the other way.
Right.
So if you have if you have two, you need twins.
You need 2 balls.
Right?
7 balls.
Yeah, we call it the 2-ball game. And they figure that out, right? So you can also trade for food too if the dog likes the food, likes treats and stuff. So
well, then you have to carry treats.
That's it, yeah.
And what if you don't have treats?
Well, then the dog learns to be a hustler, right? No cash, no due. But that's we call that fading out. We call that a transition process where the dog, at some point in time, that's where pressure comes in. Like, you always want to reward the dogs. Like, the primary reward system when pets go home from our training program is the owner. The very first exercise we work on after we've trained the dog in a board and train, and the owners now are in a lesson to teach them how to maintain it, the first thing we do is what we call the no jump game. Because when the owner comes back into the environment, and the dog hasn't jumped on people in weeks, like, they understand in our training environment, they're getting set up. Like, anybody they're gonna jump on them, they're gonna get in trouble. If they don't jump, they get rewarded. So they run up to people, gimme. So the number one reward system is the owner's love and affection. Because the dog's a pack animal, like, they really want to engage with their humans. So when the owner comes into the environment, we have to, even though the dog hasn't jumped on anybody in weeks, they're going to lose their shit when they see the owner. Because we can't recreate that love, that pack, that magnetic attraction they have for their human, even though they've been separated them for weeks. And that's always a question we get, like, before they drop them off. Is my dog going to forget me? And I go, not only am I not going to forget you, like, you're going to be my biggest distraction when you come back into the training program. So it takes sometimes several minutes for the dogs to come back to earth. Like I have to correct them repetitiously for jumping because, again, they've also learned and been conditioned that they can steamroll the owners.
When I see you, this is what happens.
This is exactly.
So this is
I get away with murder.
behavior.
Yeah. And I always try to educate people on the whys too. Like, why do dogs jump on people? Why are they so fucking rude?
Why are they so rude?
Look how they treat each other. When you go to like a dog park, yeah, it's like a mosh pit at a Lamb of God concert. Yeah, they're smashing each other.
What are you doing?
That's cool in dogs. Like they love smashing each other. They love biting and wrestling and jumping. I don't for 1 second believe they perceive us as another dog. They realize that we're another species. We're the more dominant species in most cases. But they will absolutely communicate with us in dog language. And that means jumping, grabbing us, biting, barking, doing the same shit they do to each other. And that's what the training program has to do. It has to redirect that mindset. To teach a dog all 4 paws on the ground is going to bring you the things that you want. So what is the drive goal when a dog jumps on somebody? To get their attention, to interact, to say hello, to connect with their pack. They'll do that rude as shit if you let them. We have to teach the dog, keep those fuzzy paws on the ground. Then it's like room service. The human comes to you and gives you everything you're looking for. But again, there's going to be impulses. The dogs are going to have these moments where they just have these little outbursts. And forgive me, but bullies sometimes are
Oh, yeah, they're ass. Sometimes they are.
Dunce.
Sometimes they're like, what are you doing?
So again, every dog, just like humans, has a different learning curve, and sometimes needs a little bit more reinforcement, little reminders, right? Dogs are like that too.
They're like kids.
Exactly, man. So that's a little short story about e-collars and the dog training, and again, I talk in circles, but to circle back, like the most difficult part of my training is the people, for sure, the people. Yep.
And that transition between finishing your training and
yes,
and coming back.
These things, knees and this, although the owners want constant updates, they want to see the cute little videos, even if the dog's beginning of training that it's like we're using their clicker and feeding, like they just want to see their dog. But as the training program progresses, this is evidence, right?
This is what a cheaty dog it was. You see him now?
Yes, and the dogs, again, we say 4 weeks basic, 6 weeks advanced, but the dog's not going home until they're ready. Every now and then we have people that just have a meltdown that can't live without their dogs, and it's in our contract. If you pull the dog out of the program prematurely, the dog is not considered trained. Like we have a lifetime guarantee. When the dog completes the program.
Right. Well, it's like going to school.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't complete if you don't get your diploma,
you don't get a degree. And I also tell people too, like a lot of times we start a board and train at 5 months old. We have little puppy programs and stuff, baby puppies up to 4 or 5 months, but at 5 months they can come in and get the full 6-week program. What I tell people is that dogs can be like humans, and serial killers were really nice kids at one point in time in their life, right? And then they grew up in the environment, their genetics and their experience was a Molotov cocktail, and then they become killers. Mm-hmm. Dogs can be like that too. So dogs between 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months can be very consistent in their behavior, and all of a sudden they go through a weird fear period. Sometimes they come out of it, but after a year, 14, 16, 18 months, up until 2.5, when they start to fully mature, they can be a much different dog than they were as a baby.
Absolutely.
So that's why we say it's a lifetime guarantee. There's sometimes we get a call a year later, and the dog's doing shit that we never saw the dog do when we had our hands on it. But a lot of time it is, like I said, the phone is evidence. Some of these people want to talk shit because it requires owner maintenance. It requires that they practice the things we've been taught.
Yeah.
It's a perishable skill. Use it or lose it. So they want to come back and blast you on social media and say, oh, this guy didn't train my dog. Well, it's interesting. It was a horrible situation. I had an elderly gentleman with a very adorable, crazy little golden retriever puppy. She was awesome. She was rude because she was so wide open and jumpy. She loved to train, loved to eat, loved to play ball. And she created a lot of good content for me during the training program. The owner, right before she was about to go home, passed away. And it was horrible. He had some health issues, and he had 2 adult children, and neither of them wanted the dog. Well, their lives were too busy, and they had their reasons, right? But nobody could take the dog. But the breeder said they'd take the dog back. So about a month later, and I never met the breeder. I never had an opportunity to do a lesson. I did a quick lesson with the son, who all he did was grab the dog, drive it back to the breeder hours away.
Mm-hmm.
And he did no long story short.
Oh, by the time you got it, he forgot.
So I got a call a month later, the breeder's bitching at me saying the dog's not trained. And I started firing her videos. I kept sending her links that I posted.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, just because that puppy was born in your home, do you honestly believe it's going to listen to you because you saw it born from its mother? And people believe that shit.
Oh, God.
Did they believe that you're going to say the word sit, say the word down, and the dog's going to listen? Bullshit. There has to be interaction with the animal. It goes back to what I was saying. The animal has to believe you're going to reinforce those
There has to
things.
be the connection.
Yeah, there has to be leash time. There has to be repetitious interaction with the animal where they go, okay, this human knows the deal, and I'm going to respond to him or not. So that, again, it just circles back to the humans. Sometimes that's the hard part of what I do. You know? And I've trained people that have been runway models, movies, actors, actresses, special force operators, pro athletes. And it all comes down to connecting with the human and teaching them how to create that interaction with the animal with good timing and good communication. It doesn't matter what walk of life the human comes from. They may be a ninja or an elite in their field of life, but the dog will humble you. Right? It's a really bit different language. It is very, very simple language, though. That's actually the good thing.